Hey there. So let's talk about baking your cookies and some tips I may have that will help you out. Number one, I bake at a higher temp between 400 and 420. I can't stress enough that every oven is different, so you may need to tweak yours. You may see that your oven bakes slower at 400. So if you want to bump it up and be able to watch your cookies bake a little quicker and make sure your edges don't get too brown, that's really up to you. You're going to have to test out one or two batches to find that magic temp for you. Most of the time mine's 415. But again, I can't stress, every oven is different. So when I bake, I usually try to pair ones that are the same shape or the same size. Just that helps with the consistency of the baking time. I do use 2 racks in my oven. If you don't have room for 2 racks, it's totally fine. But if you do have 2 racks, I highly recommend using your top rack for the smaller ones, so you can really watch, because they will bake a lot quicker. See, I put those in second, and let me backtrack. So I bake on 2 racks. I usually put the larger ones on the bottom because I know they're gonna have to bake longer to actually get done in the middle, but I don't want the edges to get brown as quick. So if you're using 2 racks, put your larger items on the bottom rack. Then you can go ahead and use the top rack for some smaller ones. Again, I put these in first, then I go back, get my other ones out of the fridge and put them in. There may be like, I don't know, a minute difference, but that's how I do it. Again, trial and error. You'll learn what works for you in your oven. The most important thing out of everything is set a stinking timer. There's times where I haven't set a timer and I've ended up with brown, like super brown cookies, which is the last thing you want, or even black cookies. So no judgment against that, but it's just, have to go straight in the trash. So let me show you how these Silpat mats work. There's silicone mats. You wipe them off or you rinse them off after you use them. You don't have to spray them. If you don't have any, at least I would recommend getting 2 of them or using parchment paper, but never, ever, 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 ever bake the cookies on the actual pan or on foil and spray it. It just doesn't work the same. Your bottom's gonna get a little bit crispier. You need to hold as much moisture in the cookie as possible. Using these silicone mats is the way I do it. That seems to work really the best. You don't have to get the actual name brand. You can notice I got some that from the restaurant supply, so they're an off-brand. They work just as well. Don't ever cut on them because then you have nicks in them, and it's silicone, so I don't know what the rules are in that. I just know that the original packaging said don't cut. Okay, here we go. So I wanted to show you why I love using these. So this pan is cooled off a little bit. You notice I already have some cookies up here that I already baked and have pulled off. Notice they're not super brown, just a nice light tan, like they went to the beach for the weekend. So the reason I like these is because once this kind of cools off, I can move these cookies around and not have to worry about peeling them up or breaking a cookie. So again, remember, these are close, I would say still a little warm, but almost room temp. But what's great is you can pull them right off. You can still see that there's a shininess or a little bit of moisture in them. I don't know if you can, it's a little hard to see, but you can still see that shininess from the butter, which is great because then I know the moisture is staying in them. So I just pull them off and I'm able to put them on my cookie sheet, or my cooling rack, excuse me. And doing it like this works great. Another way I do it, which is a little more fast and furious, is if I'm running out of pans or I'm trying to rotate really quickly, I will take this mat that's still pretty warm and I'll pick it up and just transfer it to my cookie sheet. So that way my pan starts cool. I can put it somewhere where it's cooling off. And you'll notice that I can move this and just slide them right off. I'm telling you, these are a godsend. They last a very long time. They're worth every penny. Even when you bake chocolate chip cookies, anything, Steph, highly, highly, highly recommend getting just 2 of them to start because they may get pricey, but you'll use them, you'll get your money's worth without a doubt because you won't be buying a bunch of paper or a bunch of Pam that, from time in and time out. So I think that's it for now. Next video will be about mixing icings and consistencies. Check out read through the photos that I sent you from the book, and then that way when I show you, you'll have a little bit better idea of what I'm talking about when it comes to consistency. All right, have a good day. Bye.